It's August 21st, 2020, and my garden is getting very overgrown. I'm going to start taking summer parts out and putting fall parts in, or preparing for fall parts. So these are starts over here for my fall and winter garden. I have some perennial flowers starting in here. A lot of brassicas, a few herbs, onions, shallots. So they're sitting up here on my front porch. And then I have some more down here. On the right are red columbine, native columbine. And I collected those seeds from my one red native columbine plant that bloomed this year. And here I have tall garden phlox, which smells delicious, fabulous. Some really nice deep wine red dahlias that I'd love to have more of. My super tall rudbeckia. Here I have a wisteria vine that I'm training up towards the house. And I might suspend it from some hooks or something, maybe around the porch. And these red things that the hummingbirds love are Phygelia. I just learned the name of those this year. I took out my Nandina, heavenly bamboo, that had been here for 14 years, and I'm going to plant it all full of raspberries. There's a few raspberries that I got from Kendall and Mark out in Vernonia, and then I got a bunch of raspberries from Kendall's parents that are going to go in here. I also had Nandina down there, which I took out, and the soil level was extremely low, and so I've been putting yard debris and things in there to build up some compost and fill it up more. So we'll start this tour in the backyard. Since I'm about to take so much of this stuff out, I thought it would be good to document what it looks like before it comes out. I've already taken most of my broccoli out. There's 3 broccoli plants left here. But my broccoli just hasn't been making much in the way of broccoli heads. There's a miniature broccoli head. Maybe I'll do better this fall. The white flowers are on my garlic chives. And yes, let's go this way. So on this teepee here, I've got several ronde Denise round French zucchini down in there. There's a couple of, we can actually see a couple of the zucchini. And there's one. And there's another one back in there. And then I have orange tomatoes that are an orange color when they're ripe, growing up the corner here. Nasturtium. This is what's left of my collards. I think they're about ready to come out too. And there's a tomato in each corner of this teepee. These ones down here are red. I'm not sure which variety they are, but I'm going to pick a bunch of them today and dehydrate them because I have more than I can eat. And that is my gardenia, my succulents. And it looks like it's time to process some more basil. I've learned that if I blanch the basil leaves before blending them with olive oil, that they remain bright green. I was worried that they would lose a lot of flavor that way, but I've tried it, and I think so much of the strong flavor in pesto actually comes from the garlic. I didn't notice a big difference in the basil when I blanched it. So this tomato plant is the one start that I bought, tomato start. The rest came from seed. So this is a new tomato I haven't ever grown, and it just has got the most enormous fruit. I'm just kind of mind-boggled by how huge they are. And under here, I have yellow squash. I think I'm going to save that one for seeds because it's getting really big. And here I have a bunch of heirloom tomatoes. I guess I have 4 of those. Oh, and I do have my fall peas starting to come up amongst my basil. There I have a borage that I planted from seed. This is my first year growing borage. This is a nice dinosaur kale, but the finches have been munching on the leaves. Look at this borage. This one is huge. Oh, I turned my camera. I'm trying to keep it sideways like this. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, the bees are enjoying it. So, oops, this is my flowering red currant. Some amaranth right there. I had some volunteer nigella that was just lovely. And it has these seed pods here. I'm going to make sure and save some seed pods to collect seeds because I want to grow more of those next year. Here's another borage. You know, this bunch of borage seeds I got is so interesting. It has some pink flowers mixed in amongst the blue ones. And here's one that's like pink and blue striped. There's another amaranth. Boy, this is let's see. This is a lovely arugula. Usually I prefer the wild arugula. This one's cultivated arugula that came in with the mesclun salad green mix that I have. And I have one Johnny jump up. I can't believe it. I tried to plant Johnny jump ups and none of them survived except this one. I just happened to somehow scatter a seed over here. And it grew. Here's some more bees. The reason that I planted borage actually was for the bees, to attract pollinators to my garden. I have some lovely fuchsias down here. And this is the first time I've grown sweet alyssum. And I have some parsley under the tomatoes. Here's another borage that I planted at the same time as that enormous one that the bees are all buzzing around, but this one's just not growing very much. And so my squash is starting to get powdery mildew, which is part of why I'm deciding to take some things out of the garden. I do have a blueberry bush down in here, which is completely hidden amongst all the other plants. And I have some pole beans. Actually, there's even some ripe ones right down here. There's some more of them. So, pole beans growing up this part of the teepee. I had a bunch of bush beans down here, and I harvested them all and cut them way back to then see if they would grow back up. And here's that yellow squash that I'm thinking of saving for seeds. This must be an orange tomato too. They don't look like they're turning very red, but they look almost ripe. This is definitely an orange tomato. And then I'm pretty sure these are called Sweet Million tomatoes along here. And my cucumber vines have just been wildly prolific. I've been eating lots and lots of cucumbers. But now these Sweet Million tomatoes are taking over everything. I even planted corn. I planted corn quite late on June 28th. I planted it from seed and really didn't know if it was actually going to mature or if I was too late. But as you can see, it's forming ears. And the leaves are covered in piles of pollen. So I think it's probably gotten pollinated pretty nicely. And also on June 28th, when I planted my corn, I planted cantaloupes for the first time. I've never grown cantaloupes before. So I planted 3 cantaloupe plants from seed. And I strung them up to this string that goes from the porch outside of my attic over to my trellis on my fence. And I'm really excited that there's, in addition to all these blossoms all over it, I do have some cantaloupes forming. Well, let's see. There's one, and there's one. I think there's 4 of them. Well, there's another one around back somewhere. Oh my, this borage with the pink flowers has fallen over. It's been getting top heavy, I guess. So, look at this. Look at that pink borage flower. I've just never heard of this before. And there's my Sweet Williams, let's see, dianthus that David gave me. And there is another cantaloupe hiding out. So I should get at least 4 cantaloupes, I think. So this used to be a winter squash teepee covered with my spaghetti squash. That was it. But I had to take it out because it got too big. And I have chives in this pot. I'll probably move them into my garden. I didn't have a place to plant them at the time. So this is an echinacea that I planted from seed this spring. And it's looking great. There's another one hiding under here underneath all of these healthy nasturtiums. It really took quite a while for the nasturtiums to get going, but they have just taken off. I'm excited about seed saving this year. I have a parsley plant from last year right here that the seeds are drying out very nicely on. I'm going to be saving those to grow. I love parsley. Oh, and my, there's my Getiocosum squash from Taggart. But I finally have peppers growing. It's so exciting. They have taken a very, very long time to reach this point. I planted them from seed in the winter, late winter. And I have some lovely dill growing here. It's the first time I've grown dill. I grew that from seed. This is a wild arugula that is going to flower and then seed. Maybe I'll save some seeds from that. I really like my wild arugula. It self-sows for the most part all over the place here. So this tall vine is another cantaloupe that somebody was giving away. A cantaloupe start that I'm not sure if they started it themselves or not, but it's starting to do something. My basil is ready for me to harvest some more of. I've been harvesting it. This is Hopi tobacco that I got from Taggart. Wow, what are these? Oops, sorry about the finger. What is this stuff? I don't know what it is. I don't know what all the brown... Something has been eating my tobacco. Amazing. I thought tobacco was essentially poisonous. Something, maybe it's the birds. Huh, I wonder what's getting in there and eating my tobacco. Well, no problem. So yes, my Getiocosum squash. This plant only made one. This isn't a great angle to get it from. Oh well. I do have some lettuce coming up down around here, along with the wild arugula. And my most prevalent weed, which is spurge. There's some more nice leaf lettuce. Well, this is a pepper plant too. It's not doing much. So there's an actual pepper. There are some actual peppers. All right. I think this is about it for the backyard. Oh, well, this is my composting materials. I've been learning about black soldier fly larvae. I actually have attracted some black soldier fly larvae to my compost, and they break it down so quickly. It's amazing. And they keep all the other flies away. They emit some kind of pheromones or something that tend to keep flies away. So my grape is sending out 2 shoots on each side down low, and I've decided I want to rejuvenate this grapevine. I don't want it growing all the way up here on top of the trellis. It's very hard to prune when it gets up there. I do have some grapes. But it's odd how there's so many little tiny ones in there. I don't really understand what that's all about. But I will have some grapes, and I think I'll dehydrate them into raisins like I did 2 years ago. Last year I didn't get a grape harvest because it rained a whole bunch as they were ripening, and they molded. Right about the same time they got ripe, they molded. So these are some pretty spindly looking grape bunches, but I think I'll do much better next year with when I learn actually how to take care of a grapevine and how to prune it properly and all that. So my succulents have been doing very nicely up here on top of the wall. And I'm going to fill this little planting area with invasive mints as a way to keep them out of, from being able to take over my garden. This is a blueberry. Oh my goodness, there's still one ripe blueberry on there. Oh, look at that. I think I'll eat it. I get Italian plums from my neighbor's plum tree. I made some plum compote or plum sauce or something yesterday. Had it on some homemade crepes. It was really good. Here's some more Figelia. It's not really all that happy down there. I think maybe I'll move it. And this is some sort of a tropical bush. It's getting heavy with flowers. Hummingbirds really like these flowers. It's just beginning to bloom, so most of the bush doesn't have flowers on it yet. There is orange mint, which I plan on putting in that planter against the concrete wall over there. And these are the raspberries that I'm going to be planting where the Nandina used to be. Here's some more of these purple tubular flowers that the hummingbirds are so enamored with. And I have planted some Violetto artichokes, purple artichokes from seed. They're doing very nicely. They've actually been quite easy to grow from seed. And here I have some more flats of seedlings, brassicas for the fall and the winter. Here I have a potted thyme plant that I dug up from down in one of my window wells like that. And it's going to be a replacement for this other thyme, which has gotten way too woody at the bottom. Oh, and this is my little onion patch. I had green and red scallions in here. And sage right down there. Here's another piece of fence that I scrubbed and oiled. I still need to put pine tar on it. The weather is finally cooling down, so it's going to be a lot easier to do the maintenance on my fence. So I have had 2 crops of lettuce out here in this front planter, and I'm now growing parsnips. They're supposed to be slow and difficult to start, but they're getting going. And this is a peanut that a squirrel planted. And there's a couple of chard that have hardly grown. I'm going to be growing a bunch more chard for the fall and winter. And this is a piece of fence that I restored, scrubbed it and oiled it and pine tarred it. And over here I have a big patch of zinnias, which I love. I've never grown zinnias before. I will definitely be growing them again. And I have a giant sunflower. I think I'll plan on munching on those sunflower seeds and saving some to grow. Here's a really perfectly shaped one. The lighting isn't right to see it though, unfortunately. And this is an odd patch here. Things have not grown well in here at all. I'm going to be amending the soil. Hopefully that'll turn things around. I had soil tests done and I've learned exactly which minerals are lacking. I'm lacking magnesium and manganese primarily. And I have actually too much calcium. So many people put lime in their garden to give it calcium, but I have too much calcium, which is actually problematic. But those little parsley plants have been in there for probably well over a month. They just haven't grown. Oh, here, let's have a nice shot down the sidewalk. I think it's time to take these squash out. There actually is a big squash on there. Huh, I think that's probably the nicest one that I've gotten off of this plant. I could let that one go to seed, I guess. There's a nice little zucchini. This plant's been making some nice zucchini, or these plants. There's like 4 of them in here. Okay, this is feverfew. I just learned the name of it this year. And cucumbers, broccoli. This broccoli's ready to eat. How's that for a tiny little broccoli head? And here I have a bunch of little baby cucumbers starting to develop, and there's a nice big one. And over here I have my one and only Trombolino squash, but it looks like the end is shriveling up now. It's not actually developing properly. Yeah, these things down here are coming out. They just have not grown well. It's probably too shady for them. But my fuchsia has done great this year. And this zebra grass has done really well. These are asters that David gave me. It's the first time they're blooming for me. I'm not really sure how much I like those. Here's a part of the fence that I've scrubbed but not yet oiled or pine tarred. I'll be doing that sometime soon. And we'll end where we began, back up on the front porch.